All right. Welcome, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Zoel. Today, I wanted to talk about how we can ensure our deliveries, pickups, and just overall customer experience can go smooth as possible. So I'm going to share with you guys like our pre-weekend checklist. And we do this with every single customer that orders with us, no matter what they order. We go through this checklist, and there's kind of like different sections. Like if there's someone that's only doing tables and chairs, we have a different way we do this. But today I'm going to kind of show you guys our general one and then the different sections that are in there. Because I'm sure we've all had our own delivery nightmares or rental nightmares. Worst being maybe you delivered to the wrong address, or maybe you showed up on the wrong date, or maybe you got your bounce house back and it's full of confetti and silly string and all this nasty stuff, and now you got to charge your customer a cleaning fee. There's a million and a half different things that could potentially go wrong with your deliveries or pickups, whether it be on your end or the customer's end. It just seems like there's a million ways we can make a tiny little mistake. So this is one thing that we do, like I said, with every single order, and this really does help ensure that all of our deliveries can go as smooth as possible. Obviously, hiccups are going to happen, things happen. We're all humans, mistakes, we all make them, right? So, again, this is one way that we try to make it as smooth as possible. So, I would love if someone here could potentially be my customer for this scenario, because I'm actually going to show you guys this survey and I want you guys to hear the firsthand conversation. So does anyone want to be my customer?
I
Robin,
got
all
you.
right. Let's go. All right, cool. Let me share my screen here. You guys can see what's going on. One sec. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Can we see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So in Inflatable Office, they have a really cool tool called surveys. So if I go down to surveys, customers can fill out their own customer satisfaction survey, which these questions tend to be things like what's the earliest we can drop off, the latest we can pick back up, things like that. But we're going to focus on the manager survey today. So, Robin, I'm going to call you the week before your event. So this is probably going to be more like 8 to 9 days before your event. So ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Robin?
Yes, how are you?
Good. This is a while with Bounce My House Party Rentals. I just wanted to reach out super brief. I just want to confirm some details about your event. Do you have 5 minutes to chat really quick?
Sure.
Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, I just want to make sure 100% of the information I have on my end is correct. I want to be able to give you 5-star service here. So the first thing I want to confirm with you today, Robin, is what you're renting out. And I see that you have a 20 by 20 tent with lighting, 6 tables, and 50 black chairs. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Okay, and then are we delivering to 123 Street in Orland Park?
Yes.
Beautiful. And what kind of event is this? Is this like a birthday
We're
party,
having
graduation,
a
family
family reunion.
gathering? Oh, okay, awesome, awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and just update that here. Give me 1 second, Robin. Okay, there she is. Okay, perfect. And your event is on Wednesday, right?
Sure.
Awesome.
Do you know
Okay.
do
And
you know what time you guys will be there?
yeah, so this very moment, I do not have an exact time for you. Your party is from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. though, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the delivery crew does a killer job. They're gonna make sure they're gonna get there nice and early for you. They're gonna make sure everything is set up prior to 2 p.m. But what I'll do about a day or two before your event, I'm gonna send you a text with an ETA window. And in that text, I'm also gonna have you just reconfirm your address again. So is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And then we're setting up in the grass in the front yard, right?
Backyard.
Backyard. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Let me go ahead and change that up here. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Perfect. Okay, and then let me just see if your contract is signed here. Okay, it looks like your contract is not signed. So what I'm going to do, Robin, after we're done on the phone here, I'm going to shoot you a text with your contract. If you can do me a favor, just review that and sign that really quick for me. And then it also looks like we have a remaining balance of 409.51. Did you want me to use the card ending in 1234 for your remaining balance today?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and take that out while we're on the phone, just so I can make sure that everything goes through. Awesome. That went through just fine. Thank you so much for your payment, Robin. And again, I'll shoot you that contract right when we're done here. So
Okay.
lastly, before I let you go today, Robin, I just have to go over our rules, reminders, things like that. So first things first, if you need to get rescheduled due to inclement weather, you do have a 24-hour window to get rescheduled without any fees or anything like that. So we're super flexible. So let's say you wake up on Monday and you see it's supposed to storm on Wednesday, just give us a call, say, hey, it's looking like it's not going to work out for Wednesday. Can we move things around? And we'll go ahead and push that off. Okay, sound good?
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right, awesome. Okay, so since you are doing a tent, let me look back at your order here. So we will be setting up your tent and your lighting, but I will say we typically don't set up tables and chairs. We've had some issues in the past. So if you do want us to set those up though, we only charge 50 cents per table or chair. So did you want us to set those up for you?
No, I think I can handle that.
Okay, awesome. So the only thing that we ask then when we come to pick them up the next day, if you can do us a huge favor and just leave the tables and chairs how we left them when we dropped them off, so like stacked and set aside under the
Right.
tent or something like
Just put
that,
them back how
that would
you
be
found
awesome.
them.
Yeah, yeah, that would be awesome. And then same thing, just make sure when we come to pick up the tent, all of your items are out from under the tent, everything's clear, so that way we can just kind of get our stuff and go. And then I believe that kind of takes care of it here for our tables and chairs. And just, I guess, last thing here, we do have enough space for all of our rental items, and there's no like low-hanging tree branches that are going to be where we're setting up the tent, right?
No, everything is an open space.
Okay, awesome,
Will you
beautiful. It's
all
gonna
will
make
you all stake them down or use sandbags?
Yeah, so we'll actually stake them down. So what I did is I went ahead and filled out a form called Julie Dig. So they're actually going to come out to your property within, the week before, I'm sorry, a couple days before your event. And they're just going to mark for underground utilities to make sure we don't hit anything when we are staking. So just a heads up for that as well.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think I went through pretty much everything I needed to go through today, Robin. Do you have any questions or concerns for me at this time?
No, not right now. I do
All right.
appreciate you calling to go over everything, just so we could be ahead of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries at all. I'm going to go ahead and send over that contract. Again, if you can do me a huge favor, just review it, make sure it looks good, sign that puppy for me, and we should be all squared away.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. And scene. You did great, Robin. Thank you. One
Way to
thing I
go,
wanted to,
Robin. What a model
yes,
customer.
she killed it. She killed it. Um, one thing
I was gonna be a picky customer, but I don't feel like doing that right now. We
I
deal
was
with that
gonna
on the
say,
regular.
I was gonna say, throw me some curveballs, but you did. I love it. I love it. So one thing I also wanted to touch on too that I didn't get to go through because this was more of like a tent order setup. And I was gonna do another like bounce house order setup. But the other part that is in that survey that is related to like the bounce house, obstacle courses, and water slides, you'll notice, let me see if I can pull that survey back up. But if I'm just, let's say Robin was only ordering a bounce house, then my last question would have been, or I'm sorry, my last slide here would have been the safety rules and then the deposit. So what I typically do if Robin were to only order a bounce house, I would open up this link, which I usually just have saved on my computer at work. What I'll do is I'll open that up and I go through every single rule with her. So I'm going to kind of read these off just off the top here. So in case of heavy rain or wind speeds above 15 miles an hour, please remove all kids from the inflatable and turn off the blower. Adult supervision is required at all times. You don't want your little ones flying away on you now. And then no wrestling. There's always one kid who confuses a bounce house for a WWE audition. So just keep an eye on them. And then per the manufacturer recommendation, they typically recommend about 5 to 6 kids of the same size jumping at a time. And then lastly, for all the rules are all of the no's. So no shoes, no sharp objects, no glasses, no food or drink, no confetti or silly string in the inflatable, and then no fireworks, grills, or other flames near the inflatable. So that just would have been, like I said, if she were to only have ordered a bounce house or a water slide, then I would have went through those rules as well. So before I kind of continue on here, does anyone have any questions or concerns about anything that I had just went through? No?
No.
Awesome. Awesome. If you do, you can also throw it in the chat too if you don't feel like turning on your mic.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, please.
If we're sending out contracts with the rules on them, like, do we have to if we're sending out contracts with the rules on them, do we really have to go over them again on the phone?
That's a great point. So yes, and reason being is because you don't have to, right? But this is one way that we have found it has really streamlined the process because we've always sent the contract with all the rules on it. But let's be real, how many people are actually going to sit there and take the time to read them? You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that's just not the case. So in customers, in the nicest way possible, they got to be told what to do. So just having that in their ear over the phone with you, one, they're going to really appreciate the customer service because you're making sure that you're already going through all of that with them. Yes, they get the contract with the rules on them. And when our delivery crew shows up, they also touch on all those rules again. So it might seem super repetitive, but I think it's a good thing to be repetitive of, right? Because it's the safety, it's the
Yeah, because
rules,
you're
it's your
building a
policies.
relationship with your customer. That's part
Exactly.
of building a relationship with your customer. You may never know how many events this customer holds a year, what position they hold. So you always want to build that customer relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great point.
That makes sense, and I appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that was going to be one of my points that I brought up. Like I said, it might seem repetitive and maybe to us on our end, it might seem like they might get annoyed by it. But honestly, 9 times out of 10, the customers that I talk to, they really appreciate that. They really appreciate that they're hearing it from multiple people. So it is a good thing to be repetitive of. I feel like I don't even know. I feel like none of our customers really even read the rules beforehand. So just being able to speak to them on the phone and throwing it into the survey when you're confirming all their info has definitely saved our butts a million times. So I think it's worth it.
Perfect. I will continue, or I will start to do that more then.
Awesome. Yeah. I think again, because you just never know, like it's little things that you might, miss on an order. And I've been fortunate enough that I've been working with Bounce My House since March. And I have yet to see a disgusting bounce house come back to us because I hear horror stories on Facebook all the time. All the
Baby.
time. Yep, yep. So I've been fortunate to not see a single one come back to us and it's like filthy. So I'm gonna say it's because of those surveys and touching on those rules 3 times throughout the rental experience with us. Now, I would love to hear some horror stories if you got some, Robin, please.
No, no, no. And it's the fact that I'm from Roseland, so I get a lot of South Side rentals, and they don't watch their kids. I have Tootsie Rolls in there. I have water blooms in there. Cheese from the nachos, just disgusting, and I don't get it. And then when you ask them for the cleaning fee, it's like, wait, hold on. They ain't getting there with nothing. Well, go look.
Yeah. Yeah. Take a little peek. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm not envious of that at all. Yeah, I'm very fortunate to not have seen it. And I'm not the one to always clean the bounce houses. Thankfully, I do the desk work. So, but still like seeing having seen some pictures on Facebook, they're literal horror stories. I couldn't imagine. I'd be so mad.
Now I haven't had none that's like superly duperly messed up, stained, and all of that. No, no.
Good.
I have seen some horror stories.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Some of those pictures on Facebook are terrible. Mm-mm.
So,
The
So
worst one.
Joelle, it's
yeah.
Eldine. So are you suggesting that we, even though it's in the contract, we tell them about the cleaning fee also?
So I personally, I don't say anything about the cleaning fee. It is in the contract, like you mentioned. I personally don't want to scare a customer. So you could, but you could say something along the lines of to avoid a cleaning fee. It's just about the verbiage. So you could, but we personally don't state like, well, if you put silly string in confetti in the inflatable, you're gonna get charged. Because that could just maybe leave a bad taste in the wrong person's mouth. You know what I mean? So if you're going to word it, definitely figure out the best verbiage to kind of include that in there. Again, like maybe something as simple as to avoid a cleaning fee, make sure there's no confetti or silly string in the inflatable. And that should probably make it a little softer, So you could. We personally don't, though.
And in that safety sheet that you were showing, that was actually on Event Hawk. That you were showing us, or was that something that you?
Yeah, so that's actually from the Bounce My House website. So that's actually a whole separate page that Derrick made. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can maybe get some info or like a template or something like that for you. I just have to chat with Derrick about that. But yeah, he made like a separate page where if we just click that link, it'll take us directly to the safety and info on there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because that looked like awesome.
Yeah,
Check
yeah.
some of your inflatables. They have them on there also.
So it is on the.
Some inflatables are printed on there. They should, all of them should, but it depends on where you get them from.
Got it.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for that, Robin. Awesome. Any other questions about anything I went through with the survey or the rules? Beautiful.
Zoe, I just wanted to say really quickly, it's not a question, but I really liked the way that you mentioned like having them stack things. So doing the teaching thing for 13 years, I know you have to say the rules 8 million times and still show them in order for them to be able to do those things. But also the stacking has got to be painful. Like I want to make sure that they're exactly the way that you left them, but how you phrased it was, it would really help us out if you just do that exactly. And Robin was really nice and willing to say that, but that's always like, oh, like it's a nice thing to do for your delivery crew, like, this is a nice thing that you're doing for them. So I think that was
absolutely good. Yeah, I agree. And it really has saved us because in the beginning, I didn't really mention the whole table and chair thing or making sure that you cleared everything under the tent. And when I would come back on a Monday, I would have feedback from Derrick and Jamila and the delivery crew, like, hey, we showed up at this one event and there was all these tables still up and chairs were still up and there's garbage on the tables and we had to sit there and spend an extra 45 minutes to clean up everything and stack everything. So that's when we circle back every Monday or Tuesday with Derrick, and we touch on the things that are issues or that we had throughout the weekend, and then we go in and fix them. And so that was just one easy solution, was to kind of include that in the survey and go, hey, if you're not going to pay for us to set them up, which is totally fine, just make sure they're exactly how we left them when we come to pick them up. And it really has helped a lot. So with that too, I just kind of wanted to go into why some of this is so important. And I also wanted to touch on the review thing. So actually in the very beginning, I don't know if anyone caught this, but one of the first few things that I said to Robin was, I just want to make sure 100% of the info is correct because I want to give you 5-star service. So I don't know if any of you guys have attended the roundtable that Derrick and I did. Actually, I don't know. I'm not too sure which roundtable it was, but we talked more about Google reviews. So it's actually one of the first beginning processes is when they hear it in the survey. Sometimes I say, I want to give you 5-star service. Other times I will say something along the lines of, our goal by the end of your event is to get a 5-star review from you. So I said it once over the phone, they usually, a lot of times, like when they hear that, they'll go, oh, okay, absolutely. And then I'll continue on with my survey and just transition into the questions and confirmations and things like that. So we're setting expectations from the beginning. We really want to be able to make sure that we're kind of throwing that in there a little bit, because I'm going to mention the review during the survey. The delivery crew, when they deliver, they're going to mention the review. The guys, if they're picking up and for some reason the family's outside, they might mention it then. And then they get the automatic review request too on Tuesday after their event. So again, just me setting that expectation of our goal is to get a 5-star review from you, or we want to provide 5-star service. Just that little tidbit is already in their head, in the back of their head. So then when they hear it from the crew, it's not a surprise, right? That we're asking for a review. I already kind of mentioned it from the jump. So that's one way that we set expectations, is with that 5-star review. But confirming all of her info. That way, obviously, like I said earlier, we don't want to end up delivering to the wrong address. Or Robin even threw me a curveball and said, no, we're setting up in the backyard, not the front yard. What if she wasn't home and my crew went to go set up? They set up in the front yard, but Robin said, no, it's in the backyard. So I wouldn't have known that had I not confirmed all that info over the phone with her. So there's that. And then, like we were talking about earlier, by going over the rules and reminders beforehand, we're setting those expectations. They already get an email, they already get a contract with all the rules in there. And just like Amanda said earlier, people need to be told rules 1.5 million times. So again, keep that in mind. It's repetition, but it's good repetition. And then let me see what else I got
really quickly, what I wanted to say on that, because I do appreciate the fact that someone brought up like, oh, it's time consuming. Like, don't I want to skip that? So honestly, it's where do you want to invest your time? Do you want to invest it in the front end, you know, by going over those rules multiple times, or do you want to do it at the end where you're having to clean or having restack, or so you're investing the time possibly either way? You're just preventing that from happening at the end, right?
Exactly. And it is really important. Again, like there's so many tiny little things you guys you might miss. We actually had an issue a couple months ago. What was it? I think we had the wrong date in for someone. And we didn't know until we got a text from them day of, hey, I thought you guys were setting up today. We thought their event was tomorrow. So that was a big issue for us. Thankfully, we had the time, we had the resources to get everything set up that day before their party, because their party was until 5 p.m. But it's things like that, like you never know that you're going to run into. And this is really helping streamline that process to make sure you're not making silly little mistakes like delivering on the wrong day or delivering to the wrong address, God forbid. And one really cool thing too that I get a lot during those surveys, people actually leave me some pretty good notes about maybe the way to get into their backyard. Like for example, I did a survey with someone last week and they let me know, hey, the Google Maps is going to take you to the front yard, but you're going to have an easier time going through this alleyway to get into the backyard. So a lot of times during those survey calls, you'll get a lot of good notes like that is going to be helpful for your delivery crew. And then in Inflatable Office, there's an events notes section where you and the customer can actually see those notes and your delivery crew can see those notes. So that's another beneficial thing from getting on the physical phone and not just sending a text, but having that conversation too. So maybe you might get those little tidbits. Maybe they had some questions that they didn't think about. So definitely beneficial in that area. And like Robin had mentioned earlier too, it's a really, really good way to continue to build that rapport with your customers, because they're starting to learn that you are reputable, that you are trustable. So I think that was a great point as well. So Robin, what has been your most nightmarish experience with a delivery or a pickup? Like, do you have one that you're like, that was the absolute worst, I will never do that again?
No, actually, no. Oh, I lied. Yes, my last event last year. She had already paid for it. I do her events every year. She paid for it. I got hit by a motorcycle. And I called her and I told her, I'm like, well, I might have to send you the money back because really not able to do it. I'm limping. Shoulder was dislocated, so forth and so forth. So she like, oh my God, please, please, which I know, you waited so long, and then for someone to tell you that you can't do it is like, dig, now I got to scramble around again. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see if my boys can do it. This, that, and the third. She rented the generator from me, but the generator kept going out. So she claimed she put $40 of gas in there. But in the end of it, when it was time for her to pay, because I didn't get to pay the week before because I was hurt, and I did the event with her before, kind of sort of trusted her. She had my obstacle course, the 3-in-1 obstacle course, and 2 other bouncy houses. I did her a deal for $1,100. She gave me $500.
Girl, what?
So at that time, it's like, do I snap right here while I'm hurt, or do I take it the other way? I'm going to take it the other way because you're not going to get the deal that I gave you. So
Right.
she called me this year. She's still calling me, not answering. And that's prime example of all money ain't good money. And you don't have to always snap on someone or try to go after their neck, because with this service, people need you.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's tough to navigate, especially like just like you said, like I don't know if I should snap or go the other route. That's gotta be hard, especially with the fact that
It
you,
was.
oh my goodness, you really gotta bite your tongue there,
And then I
huh?
try to teach, I got boys, so I try to teach them a different way. I don't want them to feel like they have to protect me at that time. You know what I mean? My boys are
Absolutely.
still growing. I don't want them to do everything with negativity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's crazy too. I mean, I'm glad you're okay from the accident and everything, but I mean, I feel like if someone were to reach out to me that I was planning an event with and they were like, "Hey, I'm so sorry that I just got into this huge accident and I'm not able to service your event," I would just go find another company, to be honest. Like, no, obviously
Can
I'd
I
want to
be real
be,
with you? Can
yeah,
I be real with you?
yeah.
Black people don't get no fuck what you going through, long as it ain't them. I'm just being honest. I'm just cutting it raw. I'm just cutting it raw. And not all, but
Oh,
majority. They want what they
okay.
want.
Man, we got the X rating. We went through
Sorry. I
teenagers.
mean, it's true. It's
I'm
true.
Facebook Live right now.
Sorry. Long as it's they way, they don't care. And
Okay,
like
see,
I
that's
said, I
what's
built a
tough.
relationship with her. So I was like, okay, I did your event before, so let me go ahead and keep doing this event every year. But you felt like that you could go ahead and get over on me, which I could have went to her husband, and I know he would have gave me the money. But go ahead, I just won't mess with you guys. I want to do better next year anyway. I want to do different things next year anyway.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, you got some thick skin. Like you guys have been killing it. And like again, the fact that you sat there and you trusted her and you went through the process of, trying to make it work with what you had. Like thankfully you did have your boys that were able to help you out, but it felt like she was just taking advantage of you, and that's unacceptable. It's tough. So I'm glad
A
you're
lot of
standing your
people do
ground
that.
going, I'm
They
not
think my
servicing you
boys
this
work
year.
for free. And no, my boys don't never ever, since I started this business, I have never ever asked my kids to help me with these bouncy houses for free, because I'm teaching them how to go work for someone else. So if
Mhm.
I'm not paying them, how do I feel if someone else is not paying them?
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. No, you're doing good though. Especially again, you're teaching your boys the right way, and I love that for you and your guys' business. That's awesome. Thank you for that, Robin.
No problem.
It
And
looks
then
like
Derek,
Derrick, yeah, he's got one.
yeah, this weekend was our worst one yet for delivery. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so we had this young mom reach out to us, and she wanted to book our water slide for her party, which is awesome. We enjoy that. So we go over everything, make sure that they got water, they got hydro, and that they have adequate space for the slide. Well, we show up, They are 350 feet away from the water source, and there's no electrical.
Oh my goodness.
She says, "Oh, my dad has a generator. He'll bring it right over." Well, so we had to wait 45 minutes after unrolling the bouncer for hydro. We
Oh my goodness.
we had to go and buy, which isn't our responsibility. We supply 100 feet of hose. But we just wanted to make sure that they still had the bouncy, so we bit our tongues and just kept grinding.
Hmm. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's gotta be horrible. So you said in the beginning, I'm sorry, did you say you guys physically went out there to make sure she had enough space, or she told you they had enough space?
No, we had, like, in our messages we confirmed that there was hydro and there was electrical. She said, yep, they had both. Or sorry, water and electrical,
Hmm.
and that it was going on the grass, that there was enough room. And she said, yep. So if we would have known that it was so far away, we could have, did some sandbags and water totes to secure the structure, but we had planned for grass, no generator on the trailer. It was just pull your hair out.
Yeah. No kidding. That sounds like a headache and a half, man. I will mention that that actually is one thing that I forgot to mention earlier. If people are doing a bounce house, that's another thing that we do say. I don't think it's in like our rules. But it is something that we do have to tell the customer, like, okay, make sure we have an outlet at least 50 feet away. Please make sure there's no dog poop in the yard or no big obstacles in the way for our crew to maneuver around, and make sure your lawn is mowed. That's going to help prevent staining the inflatable. So those are three things too that we will touch on with customers over the phone. So maybe that's something you can throw in there too, is like the amount of distance that they have to work with, whether it's the hose or the extension cord. We usually, oh, hi, Luke Bear. We usually tell our customers that they're going to provide their own water hose. We'll bring the outlet for the, we'll bring the extension cord for the setup. So maybe that's something you can start including too in your confirmations, just to kind of streamline just that itself. But sometimes it takes for you to have that rental experience to go, crap, maybe we need to start including this in our reminders or in our policies too.
I agree. For every you have to learn from your bad days so that you don't repeat that bad day.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we do at Bounce My House too. Like I said, we every Monday or Tuesday, just depending on how our weeks go and how busy we all are. But Tariq and I, we try to meet every Monday or Tuesday, and we touch base about any issues that were going on over the weekend. And that's when we can kind of address and go, okay, well, this was a big issue that happened. How can we make sure it never happens again? And so just like you were talking about, you got to make those mistakes to actually learn from them and then to try and find that solution. So that's a good point. Anybody else have any crazy nightmare deliveries, pickups? We got John, Cyclone Jump. I love that name. We got
Thank you.
Stacie
How
in
are
the
you?
house. I'm great. How are you?
Good.
You got any nightmare rental stories, like from a delivery or a pickup?
Probably I have one story which was like the worst for me, that I had to go emailing the customer, trying to get in touch after I did the pickup. So pretty much we set up without the customer being there. Obviously there were adults inside that I explained everything to them. Typical rules and regulations, right? And especially they sign the contract letting the customers know they're like, no food, no drinks allowed, none of that, right? So upon arrival, I pretty much arrived and I see the inflatable is already deflated. So the blower is off, they disconnect the extension cord. I was like, let me just blow it up, because usually I blow it up to check what's been going on. Because the first thing that threw me off, there was a lot of dust on the top of the inflatable. So I was like, okay, that looks off. I was like, not a big deal, right? I was like, let me just inflate. So I asked them to connect the extension cord, start inflating the jumper, and I see the beer bottle comes out. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, no. And then I see a couple water bottles. I was like, okay, now I definitely got to check what's going on inside. So I opened the inflatable inflated, and I see there is food smeared all over the walls. So I'm like, no. I was like, I hate dealing with this. But the thing is, like, it was a smaller jumper, 11 by 11. obviously it took a little bit of time for the guys to clean it at the warehouse. So I was like, okay, so I took all the pictures, the videos of what's been happening. First, I decided to call the customer. She didn't pick up the phone. I was like, okay, fine, maybe they're busy. They're gonna call me back. Not a big deal. So I sent her a message, no response. I was like, okay, now I gotta take more action. So I wrote a whole email, sent it to her, the same thing through text messages with all the evidence of when I picked it up, everything, right? No response at all. So I waited one more day. I was like, I hate doing this, but I gotta charge her a cleaning fee, right? And per contract that I've been using, our cleaning fees from $150 up to $500, depending. And since it's a pretty small inflatable, I was like, I'm not gonna overcharge the customer. I'm just gonna charge them a minimum, which I did, charge $150. Never heard from a customer, nothing, no sorry, nothing at all. So even after I charged her, she never even disputed a charge or anything like that. And that was probably
Wow.
the craziest experience I've had. And
That
regarding that was another experience regarding the setup where I just arrived to a customer's place. It was in a backyard. The gate was too narrow to get the inflatable, and it was a combo, a combo. And then when I went to the area, it was uneven ground, right? So there were a lot of potholes there, unmown grass, and a bunch of dog poop all over. And I was like, guys, I was like, we can't do it. And it was actually for 4th of July weekend. So that happened like
no.
super recently. And that day I started delivering from the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So pretty much I dropped her for inflatable off on the 2nd. When I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna overcharge you for me coming there. I was like, but do me a favor, we're gonna either set it up at a different place, or you guys gotta clean everything up, and then I'll be able to set it up there, but with a different inflatable so I can fit it through the gate. So long story short, we just ended up setting up at a front yard, but on the 4th already. I arrived there on the 2nd, so I had to return. I was like, I'm not gonna charge her. They're like, everyone is stressing out. But I was like, I had to keep it cool. I was like, I'm not gonna charge you any extra fees. Just figure out where we're gonna place the jumper. Let me know, and I'll just come back. So yeah, that's what ended up happening.
Oh my goodness,
I
dude.
know.
That's crazy. Especially the first one when you said the beer bottle rolled out. I went,
That was
what do
really
you
bad. That was the worst. That was the craziest.
and you said it an 11 by 11?
11 by 11. Yeah, that's why I was also surprised. I was like, I hopefully no adults were jumping in there since I found a beer bottle in there.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, why were
Yeah.
adults in an 11 by 11 box?
Exactly. Yep. Yep. But I mean, luckily that was like the worst that ever happened. Luckily.
Yeah. Good thing she didn't dispute that charge too. I'm surprised because I feel like if any customer were to get like a $150 charge,
I think you
they
need to
would
check on
probably
her.
Yeah,
I was saying the
exactly.
same thing, so I think you
Yeah.
need to check on her. Make
Yeah,
sure
no, I
yeah.
she's
did.
still breathing.
Surprisingly nothing at all. I was surprised too.
I'm just being honest.
See,
Yep.
I mean, honestly though, she probably knew what she did wrong. She
Yeah.
probably knew, and she was probably
Yeah.
like, "Yep, I messed up, but I'm just gonna stay quiet about it and just pay my
Exactly.
150."
Yep, exactly.
I guess I'd be grateful that she didn't dispute the
Yeah,
charge and
but
honestly,
honestly,
$150 cleaning fee.
yeah, honestly, contracts save. They save because one time we had an issue with the driver. So basically, the driver and the customer moved the inflatable, and they broke one of the plant pots there at a customer's place. And usually, we don't allow any customers touching our inflatables or especially moving them. Only the drivers are the ones that are allowed to do it. So they pretty much text me that we broke their $500 pot and plant pot, and then they're pretty much asking for that money, right? And so I looked at the contract. I was like, I went over it with them. I was like, since you assisted the driver in moving the equipment and the plant pot was on your side, I was like, I expect you guys to understand that it was not nothing on our fault. And per our contract, it says we're not responsible to any belongings that get damaged on the way and the inflatable. I was like, you guys know on the contract it specifies that everything should be moved out of the way for us to be able to set it up. And you decided to move it closer and it fell on your side. So I was like, I'm sorry, that's not our fault. I won't be able to do anything about it. But he was cool, never said anything, no bad reviews. So yeah.
Good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean that definitely could have ended a whole lot worse too. So thankfully they were like, all right, like that wasn't your fault. But they tried it with you though. They tried it.
Yeah, true. I mean, recently I received my first bad review and I was kind of disappointed, but it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's gotta be tough too,
Yeah,
to swallow that. But
100%.
um yeah, yeah. How many reviews do you have right now?
Right now I'm sitting at 90, so I'm trying to hit 100 by the end of the month.
You got it. Come on. You got
Yeah,
it.
I have to 9 more reviews and I'm there. But that was the first one ever. Left 2-star review. The only one, the bad ones. Everything else is 5-star reviews, and Ivan Hawk been helpful with that. Automated
Oh,
messages are
good.
the best. Are the best. Yep.
Yeah, so we love to hear it. Yeah, they come in clutch on our end too. But yeah, do you have the business card with like your QR code on it and everything, or no?
So regarding the business cards, we usually don't hand them out to customers because drivers forget about them, and I gotta remind them. But
Mhm.
typically when I'm setting up, I always hand them out. Yeah.
Get
Nice,
this.
good. Yeah.
It's called the dot.
Actually, I have a dot card, but honestly, I just keep wallet in the car and I keep forgetting about it all the time.
I got the bracelet.
Interesting.
Can
I
you
gotta check
explain
it
that
out.
to me? I don't know what that is.
And all you do is tap it with the phone.
Oh, so if I like brought my phone to it to tap it, like it would pull up the review thing?
It will pull up everything about me. It's like my personal business card.
Oh, wow. That's really neat. I'm gonna have to make a note of that. That's really cool. I've never seen something like that. Maybe I'm behind
Dot
the
or
times.
MOBI. I got both of them. One is a key tag, and then I have one on the back of my iPad where they have to pay, and then I got the dot.
They
Okay.
have another tool that's called One Tap Connect. That's
One
I,
tap connect?
One Tap Connect.
Okay.
You,
And then
you can
Robin,
Google.
where did you get yours from? So I know one tap
I
connect.
have two. I started off with Mobi. It's MOBI.
I need to write
And
that in.
that gave me the iPad sticker on the back, and then a key tag for your keys.
Really?
And then this one is called Dot.
Oh,
Okay.
that was not
Thank you.
message.
That way you don't have to run around with the paper. No one's gonna keep it anyway. They're just gonna store your number in the phone.
That's smart. That makes
Yeah,
it convenient.
super smart because we have an event coming up on August 4th. It's going to be our first farmers market. And
Woo! Yay!
yeah, I know. We're super excited. We just got the confirmation. We have to turn in the insurance and then we're all good to roll.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the
Yeah, so
One Tap
something like that would
Connect. You
probably
can
come in
build an app.
handy.
I know, right? Because we're trying to figure out if we want to do flyers and we want to do cards or like, this sounds really, really easy.
Yeah, I mean flyers and cards, it's a lot of money to spend right there on printing. It's a
Yeah.
lot of money. Yeah, because
I
these
mean, it
wanna do
depends
a
on where you get
QR
them from.
code. You want to do a
True.
Because
QR
I
code.
used to create my own and just send them to Staples. Staples, you get I think like 1,000 for $14.99.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd put
Got
up
it.
a QR code where they can enter to win a free jump and then track your response rate.
Ooh, that's smart, Stacie.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep everything more digital, especially regarding the reviews and everything. Instead of handing out or like asking for a review or like handing out some cards, like with Event Hawk or these automations, like helped me a lot. Because before I would rarely get reviews. Before when I switched to Event Hawk, what I used to do is literally type out like copy and paste a message to a customer with those Google and Yelp review links. And then like I would have, I don't know, like in a week if I have like 10 orders on a weekend. I was like, I gotta send those 10 messages to these customers, like put in each phone number and all that. But like with automated messages, it became so much easier because like I don't even have to send anything. Just like the next day, the message sent out automatically, and I don't have to do anything.
Yes, that's awesome. And I kind of circle that back to the survey. One thing you can start doing too, if you are doing those manager surveys or are getting into it, throw that little tidbit in there at the very beginning of chatting with your customer. Hey, I just want to make sure everything I have on my end is correct. My goal is to get a 5-star review from you by the end of your event. Like just that little tidbit, I'm telling you, like it's gonna help at least a little bit more. Just push those reviews even more. Put that in their ear from beginning, middle to end of your rental process.
100%.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And then we still got about like 10 more minutes here, guys. I did want to see Stacie because you've been in the industry for a while, and I was today talking about manager surveys and how to streamline that process to make sure we're avoiding just rental nightmares. So things like getting your inflatable back and it's covered in food in a freaking beer bottle, or maybe delivering to the wrong address. Do you have like your a rental nightmare story, Stacie?
Oh God, I've got 1,000 rental nightmare stories. I didn't want to scare anybody off. The biggest
Give me your
nightmare I have is like actually my employees forgetting to read and take everything. That's my biggest nightmare, running stuff around behind them sometimes. No, we had a guy, second time our llama bounce went out last year. They literally had a food party in it. I took pictures, I showed him details, it stained it, it was terrible. And the guy wrote back this really nasty. I just basically told him he was going to have a cleaning fee. And he got all hyper on me and he's like, "Oh, we're going to call our attorney if you attempt to, clean anything, blah, 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 charge us anything. We've heard rumors of your stuff being dirty before and people mentioned it at the party." I'm like, it was the second rental. There is a no way that it was dirty like that. And B, y'all had a little Cinco de Mayo candy party in there. And you made them move it 6 times in the yard before you even agreed to where it was set up at. But I did learn something a long time ago from a friend of mine in the business. And he said, the minute that they mention attorney, you just respond back that you can no longer correspond with them. And here's my attorney's name and phone number. And he's expecting your attorney's phone call. Otherwise, you have 7 days to settle this invoice. Sometimes it just works to be a bully.
Yeah, honestly, and that's smart. That's very smart.
Well, because the minute they bring it up, then you're just like, then it becomes this whole circle of talking. And, honestly, none of that's worth your time or effort.
Right,
Just
right.
isn't.
Just battling back and forth.
And they just think that they're going to whip out their big letters. And it's like, no, I got big letters too. And you're in the wrong. And you signed the contract that you didn't read because nobody reads.
Right.
So I get that you guys do the survey. We do a text 3 days prior that reminds them everything as well. We just have an auto text set up to remind them, hey, we're coming to your yard for delivery. Don't forget to clean up the duties and all that kind of stuff. So we do have other things that we do to remind them as well, but the text seems to help for the tents and the bounces. That seems to push through to them when other things don't. So
That's perfect. Do you do anything to like just double confirm their info, like as far as like address, what they're ordering, like things like that?
I mean, we do go through and double check their orders. I mean, like I just had one come up this weekend. She wanted to add table covers, but then she had 5 tables and 3 table covers on there already. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Let's talk this through. So I do run reports and check things. As far as the address goes, as long as it maps an inflatable office, I assume it's legit. I don't like go to Google Maps and zoom in or anything like that. If it doesn't map, then I can't even get a delivery fee on it. So I kind of leaned into trusting IO on all of that. But I don't work in a bad area where it could potentially be, not a great, I mean, our suburbs are pretty straightforward. I mean, I don't have too many issues with, oh, that might be next to a really bad park or anything like that. So, I think it is some extent that I'm spoiled in the suburbs and not, but anytime I'm asked to go someplace that might not be the suburbs, that like might be a little closer to the city, I'm hitting up a friend that lives in the city going, hey, good neighborhood, bad neighborhood. What are we doing here? He's like, you're not going there. I'm like, okay, thanks.
That's smart. That's smart.
I didn't grow up here, so I don't have those borders, in my brain.
Right, right. No, totally understandable. And I think that's a good point too, that you had mentioned that you actually like text those reminders over to them. So that's another good option. Obviously on our end at Bounce My House, we opt into call, but texting works perfect for Stacie. So for anyone else that's starting to implement this, the manager survey, or at least just pushing out those reminders to them, that would probably be another good route as well, is to send a text if you don't have time for a phone call for all the customers you're delivering to.
And if you're in an inflatable office, you can set it up as a report. Like if they have a bounce on their order, they're going to get this text. If they have tables and chairs on their order, they're going to get this text. I try and stagger them if they have multiple, because they're contingent on items or categories. So I try and stagger how many texts they would get, so they're not getting 5 texts in one day if they happen to be a complex order, because for me, I have multiple, things. We do the survey for Santas because we actually ask them for all their details, really drill down on our Santa surveys about like where the entrance is, will they have presents out on the front porch and stuff. And those surveys work great for us to get all the details that our Santa Clauses need to make sure the visits are like perfect. But I haven't got, I mean, I do have surveys for tents, and I do have surveys for bounce houses, but I have found for us, I don't get responses on them. The text is what punches through, for us. And we do
Okay.
call all our clients at different junctures, but I don't have like a set procedure at the moment where we call them like right before their delivery. My guys call them, but we don't call them ahead of time. My guys are calling on the route saying, hey, you're up next, and make sure your cars are out of the driveway and that kind of a thing. So.
Okay, that's smart. That's smart. I also I like that you mentioned that you have like certain automated texts that go to certain customers. That's something that I almost want to implement at Bounce My House, because we have to text like our water slide pickups. Like if they're doing an overnight and we're picking up the next morning, we always have to text them like that morning, like, hey, be sure to inflate your water slide so it's dry when we come to pick it up. I think typically like Jamila will send those out for us on like a Saturday or Sunday, obviously depending on when we're picking back up. But I think setting that up for an automation would probably be a whole lot easier to do. So thank you for that, giving me some
Or even if
ideas
it's
over
just
here.
a saved text template where, you just go through and, grab the 5 water slides and hit them all at once with the saved text template. I have a
Yeah.
template that is for when we're going to get rain for tables and chairs, because a lot of times people have them outside in their driveway, and because they're wood, like we just had a little rainstorm come through. It wouldn't have affected any of my clients today. But if I saw we were getting rain before pickups on Sunday, I would send them a message asking them to please cover them or move them to their garage. Because that's, important that that's not covered in the damage waiver. Water damage is not covered in the damage waiver. Fine, if all you have is plastic tables, it doesn't matter, but we pretty much primarily deliver wood. So.
Okay,
So,
that makes
Zoel,
sense. Yeah.
real quick, last week I was telling you guys about the pour. It's called Rhino Pour 1000.
Okay. Say that
That
one
is
more
a
time.
wireless. That is a wireless one, and then Amazon have one that's called Pulls PULLZ ALL corded,
Okay.
and they have a cord. That's actually you have to have like your generator or something to use that one.
Okay, got you. Got you. That was with the dollies, no?
Yeah, the one that
Okay.
you can hook up to your dolly.
Got you. Okay, got you. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I made a note of that. Let me
I ain't forget
see.
about y'all. We here to help.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Robin. That brings us to our close though, guys. So yeah, I think Amanda actually linked the page in the chat, or no, so if you want the page that I was showing earlier with the rules, you can actually text the word guideline to 708-401-6465. So if you see that in the chat, if you want to copy that number down again, type guideline to get to that, just that page that I was showing with the rules, reminders, things like that. Go ahead and send a text to that number. But yeah, I think that kind of brings us to a close today, guys. So again, thank you so much for everyone that shared. And thank you so much for being my customer today, Robin. You absolutely freaking killed it. So yeah, I appreciate all the participation. And this is actually my first time like hosting my own topic for a round table. So thank you guys again so much for coming in. I had a blast with you all. And I really hope that you guys are able to take some info away from this, and hopefully you can start implementing some of these rules, reminders, things like that for all your orders for the upcoming weekends. So thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great night.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.